Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. Pixar is laying people off.
Yep.
They were long rumored to be having layoffs at Pixar, and now it's happening right ahead of Inside Out 2 coming out, and I think a lot rides on this movie.
Oh, I agree.
So we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about the utter state of Pixar, which is in my opinion, a very damaged brand. Just everything that Disney touches, they tend to damage these days. But we'll talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Real quick, guys, for those of you who missed Shadowbinders, we have Volume 3 up on Indiegogo, as well as a reprint drive for Volume 1, 2. I haven't blasted this out yet.
You just literally put it up an hour ago.
Literally just put this up. So if you missed any of our stuff, there's lots of stuff on here you can pick up. Last chance on Indiegogo. Not sure how much, if we're going to use them in the future, but a lot of people were asking because apparently through the web store, international backers especially could not back these books, which I didn't know at the time, but now I do. So there you go. Go out to Indiegogo. Let's talk about this. So tell me what is going on here.
So back in January, there were reports that there are going to be layoffs at Pixar because they kind of put a halt on Pixar's layoffs until after they finished some projects that were in progress. So basically, we need to use you until we don't need you, and then we can get rid of you.
Right. So
they're going to lay off 14%, which is about 150 people. They also are going to focus on movies, theatrical releases, and not streaming content. Because remember, we talked before how the Pixar people felt very demoralized because they kept taking all their work and using it as subscriber fodder on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I mean, during the pandemic, it made sense. I guess you already had these movies in the hopper. We didn't know when it was going to end. But yeah, now it's like, okay, we put these movies out there. Then they tried to put them in the theater, limited theatrical run. They did not do well.
Well, no, because like Turning Red, they didn't put in the theater in the first place. Here, I think they might have done it overseas. And when they did put it in the theater, no one went for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think it's a well-liked film. But two, they already saw it. You already got to watch it for free. Why are you going to pay for it? Like, why buy the cow and you get the milk for free? Kind of thing, just in a more PG or G rating.
Well, I don't know. Turning Red, that was pretty dicey. But
that's why I said PG or G.
But like, people were paying for Jar Jar's milk. They went back to the theater to go see The Phantom Menace, which is wild.
Okay, well, people will go see something when it's something they want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought we'd be in a place where The Phantom Menace for years was derided by Star Wars fans, but like more people turned up for that than they did for the Pixar re-releases. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where we're at. Like, more people want to see The Phantom Menace, which a lot of people credit the beginning of the end of Star Wars to The Phantom Menace, and they went to go see that than they did Pixar.
No, see, it looks better now after you've seen the Disney version.
I think that's it. I think it looks
and now,
better.
like, those are masterpieces in comparison.
Yeah, so. I mean, not to take a tangent here, but I guess it's kind of all related because like Pixar and ILM, all that stuff is all intermingled for a while. But like, the Star Wars prequels, I think the story is solid. I think just George Lucas made some questionable decisions.
Plus his dialogue needed someone to go over it.
He needed, it was basically the first draft. Like, boom, done. And 2 and 3, he had more help. Moving on. Anyway, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was like Ed Wood, just like.
I know. I mean, I don't think it was that bad. But anyway, back to Pixar, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about Pixar.
So now it's catching up to them. So we had all those cuts last year. They survived the purge temporarily, and now the purge is coming for them.
Yeah, 14% of their staff is like, I'm telling you, if Inside Out 2 does not perform well, and there are lots of there's lots of speculation that this movie is going to be the biggest Pixar hit ever, but people also said the same thing about Lightyear. They thought Lightyear was going to do Toy Story numbers. And, up until like opening weekend, they're like, well, all those bigots, they're not going to have any effect whatsoever on Lightyear. And it's like, no, it wasn't the bigotry. It was the boredom. People didn't go see the movie because it's not the Buzz Lightyear that everybody expected, everybody wanted.
Right. So actually there was a memo. If you go down, I have the memo. It was put out by Jim Morris, who's the Pixar president, and you can read the memo. This is what was sent out to people today.
I'm going to read it in my best Jim Morris voice. I don't know what he sounds like.
I have no idea what he sounds like. So start talking like this. No, I'm kidding.
Hello, everyone. I've spoken to you many times over the last year about our pending move away from series production for Disney+, the return to our focus on feature films, and the reduction in our team that would accompany that. That day is here, and while it is not coming as a surprise to anyone, it is one of the hardest changes we've had to make. And it means we'll be parting with a number of talented and dedicated colleagues and friends. Today, leaders will begin the process of notifying employees whose positions are being impacted. Calendar invites to speak with the leader have already gone out to those individuals, and we anticipate we will have connected with everyone impacted by the end of the day. So if you get a calendar invite, you're done. That's like getting the pink slip in your locker. I want to assure you that we will be providing extensive support as our colleagues start to transition out of the studio. We are committed to ensuring that their departure is handled with the utmost respect and care at every stage. So I don't think they're just going to like change the locks on the door immediately. Like, this is how you found out that you were fired. You can't log into the company email anymore. This is important to me, and I understand how important it is to all of us in the Pixar community. I will host a brief studio meeting via Zoom this afternoon at 5. God, I would love to be a fly on the wall to talk more about it. Despite the challenges in our industry over the past few years, you've all consistently shown up to contribute, collaborate, innovate, lead, and do great work at the studio. I give you my deepest thanks. And for those of you who will be leaving us, I am hopeful our paths will cross again, both professionally and personally. Love, Jim.
Here's the thing. I would say when you kind of got the inkling that they were going to start getting rid of people in January, you should go find a different job. However, given the status of the industry, I'm sure that's not going to happen.
Well, that's just it. Like, where are you going to jump to? DreamWorks is outsourcing more animation. This goes back to what we've been talking about, the utter state of animation right now. DreamWorks is outsourcing stuff. Disney set up a studio in Canada. Other studios are sending their stuff overseas, and sometimes it's going to North Korea, even though it's not supposed to. Mm-hmm. It's like, where are you going to work? And I don't think we're going to have as many of these, $150, $200 million cartoons being greenlit because they're not performing.
And I have to also wonder, like, of the people that are getting gone, I know that when there was issues with the people protesting Florida, a lot of it was done at Pixar.
Yes.
And in California. So I have to wonder if, I don't know this, but given the way it is lately, that some of the people who are behind some of the agenda pushing that's dragging people out of theaters, I wonder if they're one of the ones that'll get gone.
Look, this is what we've been saying. All these layoffs and stuff that are coming to studios and coming to publishers and coming to different companies. Who's getting chopped first? It's usually the activist employees.
The squeaky wheels.
The squeaky wheels, the activist employees who are taking 3-hour lunch breaks and spending all the time on Twitter complaining about the chuds. They're the ones who are the first to get gone because they're not bringing the numbers. And that's how they're going to justify it. They're going to say, oh, it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. It's just that we're not moving forward with your project. No. It's totally personal.
And that might. I mean, that's a speculation on my part. I do not know that, so don't say that's what's going on because I don't know for sure. I'm just saying, given the fact that they're trying to pivot to profit, and the fact that some of the choices they've made of late have driven people away from the box office at Disney in general, it would just make the most sense to me that the ones who are the driving forces behind issues, or if they're over there campaigning for different political things at work, will probably be the ones that will get gone first.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's what I would do if I was deliberately trying to pivot to profit. Because not even just a messaging on the fact that if they're too busy spending time, on Twitter and going around campaigning for stuff, they're not getting their work done.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I have a hunch. I have a hunch, especially if Inside Out 2 doesn't do gangbusters, but just from a purely financial point of view, it does not make sense to have Pixar on a separate campus, a very expensive campus, even though this is a legendary campus. Everybody knows the Pixar gate. They know the deal. But it made sense when it was a separate company. It doesn't really make sense now with, being part of Disney. I think they'll eventually merge Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studios, and they'll just bring everybody to Burbank or whatever and Glendale and call it a day. I mean, That's what I would do if I was bleeding out money and every movie I put out was a failure. Like, well, how can we save some cash? Oh, yeah, we just combine both of it because they're basically doing the same thing these days. So we just combine them. And then we got the Pixar team doing the Toy Story movies, and then we got the Disney team doing Frozen 14. That's
what's going on. I mean, they're just going to put these people on Toy Story 5 and,
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll ship some people to Canada maybe or something. But yeah, I don't know, guys. It's the biggest restructuring in Pixar's history. Now let's talk real quick about Inside Out. We talked about it the other day and how this thing needs to make a ton of money. And I don't know what to believe when it comes to tracking, because every time you see something supposedly like, oh, the pre-sales are the best ever. We're seeing it in video games right now with Assassin's Creed. Like, oh, it's the best pre-sales ever. They did this with the Marvels. Marvel's tracking to be a huge hit.
Oh, that's where they were. They're like, oh, it's going to be great.
I think it's marketing spin. I don't think anybody post-pandemic knows how to actually call this stuff. And Inside Out 2 is what, like a month away? It's like a month away.
I know the tickets were on sale a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I don't know when it's coming out. It's next month, isn't it?
I think it's next month. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh my God, guys, this is going to be Pixar's biggest opening, one of their best weekends ever. They said the same thing about Lightyear until we got right up on it, until we're like a week or two out. And they're like, hey, yeah, Lightyear might just dip a little bit under expectations. Then after it came and went, they're like, oh God, that really missed the mark. So we're just kind of going out to, some of the Pittsburgh theaters. I mean, there are some seats. I mean, it is like, look, it's like a month out, right? But this is the Saturday that the movie would be out. Afternoon, this is when you'd be taking the kids. And there's not a whole lot of seats being sold. Mm-mm. So I don't know how they're projecting this. I don't know where this comes from. I'm really starting. I mean, I could be wrong, but they're saying 80 to 150 million domestic opening weekend. That's crazy.
Well, we'll see. I mean, here's what's going to happen. They're going to spend a heck of a lot of money to make sure.
That's true. They might. But yeah, so far they said the top 5 picks are Incredibles 2, which I believe Incredibles 2, everybody was looking forward to that movie. 182 million. Finding Dory, which I thought was boring. 135 million. Toy Story 4, waste of money. 120 million. Toy Story 3, 110 million. And the original Inside Out, 90 million. Now, the original Inside Out, though, even though it was a good movie, it kind of came out at a time when everything Pixar put out was gold. Mm-hmm. Like everything they did was amazing. And remember, this one's not directed by Pete Docter either. This one's directed by the guy who did The Good Dinosaur. So I'm just saying, The Good Dinosaur was a flop for Pixar. Not as bad as the recent stuff, but like it wasn't fantastic. So I really truly do not know how this one's going to perform. Like you said in the other video about it, I think it's going to depend on whether or not they're really heavy-handed with the messaging, and because that is absolutely going to turn some parents off and be like, yeah, we don't need a lecture in a kids movie. But I think a lot of people anymore, though, they kind of, Disney has to prove to them that they're not trash. Same with Wish. I mean, Wish was supposed to be this big animated movie, came out the holidays. They pushed it. It was a massive failure for them. So, I don't know. Now it could have been worse. They were going to put shame in the movie.
Mm-hmm. There was a couple other ones. It was shame and a couple other emotions they were going to put in. But some people said anxiety isn't, huh?
Was horny one of the emotions?
I don't know. Somebody said that anxiety, though, isn't really an emotion. It's like a feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they had the one, I forget the French word for like just.
Nui. Or no, is it ennui?
Ennui.
I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever.
It means boredom. But they don't want to seem smart and special. It means you're fucking bored.
They should just call my name's fucking boredom. I'm so fucking bored.
That's what mine's called. It's one in my head.
Oh my God. So they're talking. Shame got cut because they had scenes with shame, and they're like, this movie isn't worth. Like, oh my God, remember that time Riley shit her pants? Remember that time Riley had her period at lunch? Oh, that happened to a girl I went to school with, by the way. Her first period, she had it during lunch, and everybody made a big deal about it.
But people shouldn't have made fun of her, because that's awful. Kids are terrible.
Kids are terrible. And she was an early bloomer. So it's
that's horrible. I feel so bad for her. My heart breaks.
But she actually turned out to be pretty nice.
I feel bad for her. Because, I'm glad she turned out to be nice, but I feel bad that happened. People picked on her for it. Because, that's just not cool.
So anyway, we'll see how it goes, guys. But yeah, Pixar, I think if Inside Out 2 does not do well, I think there are going to be more cuts. I just don't see how they can keep the studio independent when it's been dud after dud after dud.
I just don't understand how they're just making feature films. They can cut only 14%. So there are basically 150 people working on your Disney Plus content. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it feels like they're just writing out what they already have greenlit, because I guess this was Elio is coming out next year, and then the year after that they're doing Toy Story 5, which if it's as good as Lightyear, I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I mean, we're already a movie or two beyond where we needed to stop with Toy. You could have stopped at Toy Story 3, and it would have been fine. But money and sequels and IP to be mined. So we're gonna wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to Indiegogo if you're so inclined. If you haven't picked up a copy of our comics, we make comics. You can buy our comics there. We'll talk later.
Bye.